ali duški čuo sam i kao što je već najedno čast mi privilegija da mogu da govorim na ovakvom skupu, prvo par godina da se malo, što kažu, sjetne ovdje i razloga između ostalo to što smatram jako važan summit, jako važan događaj za ljudi odlični ljude, ali naravno smo rastavili nisu baš ljudi, ali tu smo gdje smo, danas bez ove gdje smo, mogli da budemo zajedno. Sad ću switch na engleski, naravno. Dakle, I'll start with raising the thing, which in engleski, so we call ourselves why. Why innovation, that's the topic of the summit. Why digital transformation as necessary ingredient of today's lives. And why leadership matters more than ever, especially in the context of changing the nature of economy. And why it matters in the time that we're entering into as a humanity, as a planet, in an age of sustained development, and unfortunately, in the age of post-corona era. I'll start with the first reason why. Why we have to think more and more and be more about it. I'll just remind you of something which is called doomsday clock. Back in 1947, it was defined and established by both American economic scientists in the very, very beginning of the Cold War. And when it was set up, to be 7 minutes to midnight. When they said the doomsday clock, you say the likelihood of men means generated fears, including nuclear risks, climate change, negative outcomes in life science and technology, as well as wrong policies that could produce irrevocable harm to humanity. Or how far we are from doomsday day, how far we are from Untitled Chapter, how far we are from the moment in which we're going to destroy ourselves. So when it was set up 7 minutes to midnight. The clock went up and down, and the golden age of the doomsday clock was in 1992. It was set up 17 minutes to midnight. It went back. It looked like the world was going in the right direction. We were far away from exterminating ourselves. But 2 years ago, the clock went in a different direction. It's bizarre. The worst part of our history in this part of the world in the last, since doomsday was established, was basically speaking the period of 92 to 95, when the doomsday clock on the golden arena looked like it was going in the right direction. So if the thing goes someplace wrong, or it can go good, it doesn't mean that nobody is the same way. So 2 years ago, the doomsday clock again stopped 2 minutes to midnight. Repeating 1953, that was the worst time. That was the time 2 years ago when finally, again, scientists found out that we are going in wrong direction. Back the 2 minutes to midnight, we were set back in 1953 with USA and USSR started testing bombs before Korean Peninsula War ended. So that happened 2 years ago. January this year, the doomsday clock was alarming, moving to doomsday day. It moved to 1 minute and 40 seconds to midnight. I'm hardly waiting to see what will happen in the beginning of next year when the doomsday clock goes wherever it does. And we will leave it for all the time. So, why innovation is important? Why innovation, especially digital transformation, is so important? First of all, that's because of the growth of economy and technology power. We're becoming more powerful than ever in history to build, but also powerful to destroy. The second thing why we need more innovation is speed and scale of change. It is being more and more going in direction which we have not to explain. So at the same time, we are in search for the paradigm of learning to be sharing, to sharing our societies, sharing our posterity, to sharing our environment, to sharing the knowledge, to sharing the future, and finally, sharing the values. We are also, thanks to Corona, in search for something which is called new normal, which means that we want to have a normal, but not normal it was a year ago, because what was a year ago, it was not normal, even without Corona. So the question is how we will create a new normal. So we are in the process of recreating ourselves. That's based on 3R concept, as I would call it. Resilience. First, we have to say our lives. We have to fight pandemic. Then we have to restart or reboot something which was good. Not everything, but we have to start. We don't have to go back to start everything that we had back in the beginning of this year. And the third thing is we have to recreate, reimagine, or reinvent, call it whatever you want to. So we're in the process in which we are going searching for something that we have created new. What is innovation? Here it is. Now, what makes us having a decent life? It's the way we produce the things. So, but that's one of the reasons why innovation is so important, because capitalism is now, as the biggest capitalists are saying, time to reset came in. This is the cover page of Financial Times about less than a year ago. Capitalism, time for reset. Business might make a profit, but should serve a purpose too. Today, while we're talking about more and more discussions are being on the table, how do we reset the way we work? So, reimagining and recreating and reinventing capitalism can find in a few different areas. Circular economy, one thing. Circular economy, I'll say a few words about it. Shared value, that was defined by Michael Porter as the guru of strategizing. So he's talking about shared value, not about the value for the share. Stakeholder capitalism, defined by Klaus Schwab, who was on before, by one of my favorite economists, Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize winner, who was talking about stakeholder capitalism. And people-centered economy, the latest movement, defined and declared by Vincent and called father of Internet. The gentleman who invented it. Basically, he said that the technological capacities and digital transformations enable us to completely re-engineer economy. Now, circular economy is aimed at eliminating waste and continuous of resources, in contrast to linear economy. Sharing, repairing, remanufacturing, recycling, in order to minimize the use of resources and stop creation waste, pollution, and carbon emission. As it was said, the economics of the coming spaceship Earth is again evolved in 1966 article. He raised awareness of an open economy with limited input resources and output sinks, in contrast to the closed economy, in which resources and sinks are tied and remain as long as possible as part of the economy. So that's what we are in search for. Innovation, here we are. Now, shared value, defined by Michael Porter and Mark Turner back in 2011, that was talking about economy and social conditions in the communities in which you operate have to be key for the companies. Shared value creation focuses on identifying and expanding the connection between societies and economic progress. So the goal of strategizing, Michael Porter and competitors say, last 10 years, we have to change. We have to change the very nature of economy and capitalism. Shareholder capitalism. We have Davos Manifesto just in January this year. It's a system in which corporations are oriented to all of their stakeholders, customers, suppliers, shareholders, and local communities. So company purpose is to create long-term outcomes, not only to maximize profit, but to do it, but also to enhance shareholders' their profit, but not at the cost of other stakeholders groups, such as suppliers, communities, customers, and so on. Stiglitz approach that stakeholders should replace shareholder primacy. As a principle of corporate governance is ultimately replacing Friedman, Nobel Prize winner, Friedman idea from 1970s that the corporation is only responsible for increasing shareholder value. Now, people-centered economy is a Copernican revolution, which is placing people, not the task, in the center of the economy. The core concept in Green Circle words is that all people can create value for each other. A good economy as an ecosystem that is digitally packed and that is digitally enabled as a platform for good economy of organizations that has to happen in the most meaningful and fulfilling ways. Now, we are entering a time of sustainable development. Sustainable development defined by 17 Sustainable Development Goals for Agenda 2030. Here are some latest developments which are, I think, good to think. Have in mind, we're talking about innovation, which are, I think, good to think. Sustainable Development Report that was just issued a few months ago. Just to remind you, Sustainable Development Goals are enabling 6 transformations of our society. All those 6 transformations mean that these elements have to radically change, to reinvent themselves. They cannot be invented as business as usual. First, education, inclusion, jobs and growth, health and well-being as a second transformation, clean energy and industry, sustainable food, land use and oceans, fourth transformation, smart cities and transport. Smart cities is enormously different between today's cities and cities of the future. Transport, same inside the cities, in between the cities, digital technology and the governance as 6 transformation. I'm talking about this is a transformation for sustainable development goals as 6 transformations that require brain, not brain drain. but brain share. Sharing the brains of people who are ready to innovate on these transformations. Now, what are major challenges for developing countries and regions, as our dear friend Jeffrey Sachs likes to point out very much? First one is skills and innovation for decent jobs. Skills and innovation. That's what this summit is about. First thing, first challenge from sustainable development perspective for developing countries is not having a cheap labor. It is having skilled and innovative labor for decent jobs. So that's what this is about. This is about upgrading skills and upgrading innovation. The good thing is, when you depend on upgrading skills and innovation, you don't depend on the big infrastructure behind it. You depend on something which is human capacity, which is equally shared all over the world, and readiness to use it in a proper way, and systemic institutional preconditions for it. That's what we have to talk about a little bit. Environmental sustainability, this next thing. Developing countries should not allow themselves not to be the leaders in green economy. In one of those four types of transformation economy that I'm talking, managing social diversity, one of the biggest problems in the world today. The world that we're deciding is the big world of the walls or the world of the bridges. So social diversity is one of the things that developing countries have to take. And of course, managing geopolitical risks. Speaking about geopolitical risk, I hope you'll have a new president in White House very soon, which means that we will be easier managing geopolitical risk without us being involved. But that's another story. Now, the risks that are worrying business leaders in pandemic time, in corona time, is done this summer. Business community, the business community all over the world, that was a survey that was made in 120 countries all over the world, over 40,000 respondents out of business community. CEOs from different ways in small, medium-sized enterprises, big corporations in all parts of the world. Unemployment and underemployment is number one problem. More than 1/3 of them are saying that this is the biggest problem for 2020. Second one is spread of infectious diseases. Just remember, spread of infectious diseases was not on top 20 list for decades. Now it's number 2. But unemployment and underemployment are leading the risk. Fiscal crisis. All this gymnastics about pumping the money, especially pumping the money in developed countries, without caring about developing countries, is going to create enormous fiscal risks. Cyber attacks, technology there. Profound social instability. Profound social instability as a result of first 3 risks, as a result of unemployment and underemployment, as a result of spreading infectious disease and fiscal crisis. Now, I'll just use, since he is here in the Center for Management Information Technology business schools for more than almost 2 decades, more than 2 decades. We are partnering with the World Economic Forum and partnering in World Competitive Sport. So I'll just use some of the data that we got from our cooperation with World Economic Forum. I'll use some data about digital transformation. Digital transformation is the latest report that we're part of in July this year, which was talking about the powering the Great Reset. We have to reinvent ourselves. Now, what does it mean? We're living in a world in which 146% year-on-year growth in April this year, in online retail orders in North America. So without COVID. When Trump was saying that that's not a problem, 146 years was growth of online retail. More than 25% of the consumers use mobile devices for purchases at least once a week. 22% is growth with global capital investment in edtech companies. Just in first quarter 2020, before COVID hit us. 164% expected increase in frequency of digital purchases as reported by global consumers before COVID exploded. 48% of employees will likely work remotely at least part-time in post-COVID time, which was about 30% in pre-COVID time. And finally, about 20% expected annual growth is in telemedicine through just this period of 5 years. So more and more things are going to be digitally transformed and when go remotely and go mobile. 45% of global population have access to the internet, and only 45% access in at least developing countries. So we have kind of digital divide still going on. How we can have a digital divide on a global scale if we have no digital infrastructure for it. So 50% of the chief executive officers believe that the crisis will accelerate the move towards stakeholders' capitalism. So more than 50% of capitalist chief executive officers, SEBS, believe that we as a world will move towards stakeholder capitalism, which basically speaking saying that they will change the way. And 77% believe it will speed up their digital transformation. So digital transformation will be speeding up the changing of capitalism, and the changing of capitalism is going to speed up digital transformation. But only 13% of the leaders are saying that their organizations are ready for the digital age. 30% digital ecosystems will represent more than 60 trillion in revenue by 2025, or more than 30% of global corporate revenue. At the same time, enabling circular economy is one of the most important things that are going to happen to us. COVID-19 is forecasting to cause about 7.5% drop in greenhouse emissions this year. But this improvement will likely vanish once the ecosystem recovers. Businesses must move to sustainable circular business models, which require imagination more than we had ever before, and that way redefine traditional revenue and cost structures. Such models decouple economic value creation from resource consumption and extending products use and life cycles. They are reducing the weights and creating new business value, as that prediction says, the survey is saying, as much as 4.5 trillion by 2030. 4.5 trillion is $4,500 trillion. How much is that? Not much. Is about probably about 2,000 years of GDP in this country. Interconnected data platforms enable the digital collaboration between companies within across industries, enabling these models through opportunities that include product as a service, on-demand access, and product sharing. Now, what are the opportunities for the corporation? The companies seize the opportunity to integrate purpose with profit. So purpose is not a profit. Purpose is the quality of our life, quality of our societies, quality of us, how we do live, not how do we make living. So the integrating purpose with the profit and investing in digital transformation, it will help deliver on their purpose. Leaders can use digital transformation to create value along three interrelated parts. First one is transforming the business. So we have to transform the business itself. Then we have to empower stakeholders, and finally we have to change the systems. Transforming business means reorienting digital transformation investment in initiatives to drive sustainable long-term value for the company and beyond. Of course, changing system means that we should create with empowered stakeholders new cooperation and value-oriented models across ecosystems to address global challenges through the market and change. Now, I'll just use a few minutes to remind of something which I think is very important. We just, 10 days ago, a month ago, 10 days ago it was officially published, a month ago, September 9th, we finished, a group of us, led by Michael Guttakis, leader of Global Boston Global Forum, former Democrat candidate for American president, Massachusetts. He was the leader of the group together with Vaira Freiberga, president of World Leadership Alliance in Latvia, and there were some of us together with it. Bill Cerf, father of internet, my dear friend, he's now vice president of Google. Natalie Churi, MIT, professor of international relations, myself, Joanne Glenn from Boston Global Forum, Thomas Patterson from Harvard University, Alex Pentland, also from MIT, and Mark Rothenberg and David Silverweiss, Harvard University. David is the shrink. He's a psychiatrist. So, I mean, he was among us because artificial intelligence is not only about artificial intelligence, it's about intelligence as well. Thomas Patterson is the guy from Harvard who invented soft power concept that world is going to change, invented it 30 years ago. So these people are together to create something which is called social contract for artificial intelligence. Social contract in the age of artificial intelligence is designed actually in order to maximize the good outcomes and minimize the bad things associated with artificial intelligence. is derived from 18th century concept of social contract, which is basically being an agreement among the members of society who operate for social benefit. Social contract for the age of artificial intelligence age is focused on conditions of 21st century. So without artificial intelligence being led by us, not us being led or managed by artificial intelligence, we are approaching doomsday much faster. So it is response to artificial intelligence, big data, the Internet of the Things, and high-speed computation. In social contract, you can, I'll give you a link who's interested on, you can see what are foundations of it, objectives, principles, commitments, stakeholders, and power centers from individuals, governments, business entities, civil society, and artificial intelligence systems. Scientifically, there are different researches and common goals that we have to work together, and that we are putting the platform under the World Society for Artificial Intelligence about having common goals in scientific research, funding culture, sustainable development, and inclusive growth, skills education and talent development, innovation and exploration, public and private sector adoption, fairness, transparency, accountability, ethics, values and inclusion, reliability, security and privacy, science policy links, standards, human control relations, finally, data and digital infrastructure. So, to close with, I'll give you 5 lessons. I'm a person who learned a lot in my life. I learned a lot by the book, I learned from the book, I learned from my colleagues, I learned from my own experience. And I learned, to be honest with you, that I learned much more from failing and losing than from winning and succeeding. But lessons from winning and succeeding are good as the ones from failing and losing. So I will, for the end of this intervention, I will use 5 lessons encapsulated in 5 words and experiences of the people who you will recall, or the people who you cannot recall, but I just made up out of people who I met and who I share my experience in winning, especially losing, and my mistakes. Now, first one for winning is big things and small beginnings. Apple, Google, Amazon, Harley Davidson, they all started small. So, don't be afraid to go big, because everything that's big starts small. It doesn't make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people not to tell them what to do. That was the motto of Steve Jobs. Hire the smartest people and don't tell them what to do. Just let them do it. No man will make a great leader who is giving himself or to get all credit for doing it. Don't do it because it's teamwork. If you want to win in 21st centuries, you have to empower others, making sure other people are better than you are. Then you will be successful. Jack Ma, Alibaba, very clear. Hire the best, don't be afraid of the best. Dream, plan, do. Think good, plan. Talk good, and walk good. You have to do these 3 things in a row. And dream and plan, but then finally do it. But the failing and losing lecture lessons are even more awful. It is fine to celebrate success, but it is more important to me the lessons from the failure. Bill Gates. Lessons from the failure are the most valuable lessons. Or your best teacher is your last mistake. Doesn't mean that you should remember that you should not forget the previous one, but the last mistake is your best teacher. So learn something from it. And a person who never made mistakes never tried anything new. Albert Einstein. So don't be afraid of mistakes. And my favorite art author, Rowling, J.K. Rowling, my Harry Potter author. It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have allowed that on. In which case you have failed by default. And the last one I will use from Bruce Lee. Knowledge is not enough. We must apply. Listening is not enough, we must do. That's what Bruce Lee said. A lot of people refer to Bruce Lee. I like Bruce Lee. He borrowed from Goethe. It's irrelevant. Is it Goethe or Bruce Lee? But it has to be us. Understanding that knowledge and knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. I'm sure that Innovation Summit is getting us to do.